Hey guys, welcome to today's video and welcome back to my channel. So if you're new here, hi, I'm Kira. That's my son Kai. He's usually in my videos nowadays. It's a thing. But anyways, today we're going to be doing a makeup and mystery, which if you don't know this series, is completely inspired by Bailey Sarian because I've been watching her a lot at night because I leave the TV on at night. So that way if Kai wakes up he hears something, and I tend to fall asleep to sound anyways, so I just have been playing Bailey Sarian, so this series is very inspired by Bailey Sarian, and yeah, so basically it's just where we talk about a mystery and I do my makeup. Don't touch it. Anyways, let's get into it. Today we're going to talk about the lost city of Atlantis, because this is a mystery that popped up on the Geographic channel last night while I was watching it with my mother, and I was very intrigued by it because there's a lot of different theories about like where it's at, because the world has very much changed in so many years. You know, continents actually are moving, which you didn't know that. The continents do move. I think my dad said they move like a centimeter a year or something like that. So it takes a long time, like a lot of years, for it to actually have a noticeable difference. But in the time we're talking, it's 1870, the lost city of Atlantis. So we're in 2022, 1870. That's well over 100 years ago. So obviously it's very well adapted to say that we don't know the location because the geographics of the Earth have changed very, very, very much. So, the reason we believe the lost city of Atlantis to be a real place is because of Plato, who was a philosopher, like a really brilliant philosopher, had wrote about it in one of his many, many books, and he had described it like in grave detail. But he described it in like really grave detail. So that's why we believe that the lost city of Atlantis did exist. And it was supposed to be like a port city where it had like 3 rings around it and stuff like that. And it was said to be like very technologically advanced. And apparently there's a lot of like lost cities, maybe not as well known as the lost city of Atlantis, that had like were very, very smart, I guess to say. Like, we're very technologically advanced as opposed to the rest of the world. And they think that the lost city of Atlantis is actually underneath a area in Spain, and apparently they've done geographic ground penetrating radar sound signals, and but apparently they've done ground penetrating radar signals and stuff like that, and they have little shapes that they can see, because that's what ground penetrating radar does, is it shows you shapes of disturbances in the sand, and it apparently resembles a lot to what we know Plato's description of the lost city of Atlantis to be. And there's even people who think that the lost city of Atlantis was swept out to sea by natural disasters such as tsunamis and hurricanes and tornadoes, which I find ironic because the lost city of Atlantis is said to have statues of Poseidon and worshipped the Greek gods and Poseidon and stuff like that, which I can totally see them doing that since they were at the sea and stuff like that. So it would be very ironic if the god that they worshipped basically destroyed the city, because Poseidon is the god of the sea. That's what he is. I'm kind of on the terms of I believe that the city did exist and it is underwater somewhere, obviously. I believe the stories in Plato's book. Although there are some historians that actually think that he made it up completely. But there are some historians that believe that Plato completely made up the story of the lost city of Atlantis, and the lost city of the city of Atlantis is actually supposed to represent greed. and saying like if you like greed will eventually end up destroying you and stuff like that, which I can totally see. That is something that is like very well known and very well common, of like saying like greed will eventually destroy you. So I can actually see that, but at the same time, this was like said to be like a very brilliant philosopher. So the question is, do you think that this very famous and well-known brilliant philosopher, do you think he would write a book on a philosophy of like trying to teach people that greed will eventually destroy you? And then you have to come in, and then you have to remember that there is actual scientific evidence of a place under Spain that ground penetrating radar found. That is said to look a lot like how Plato describes the lost city of Atlantis. Like there's, like I said, a statue of Poseidon in the lost city of Atlantis that Plato describes in his book. And we actually, like, there is a description of it in this ground penetrating radar where it was said to be. Like, they can see it. And I mean, they can't go digging up anything, because like that would, one, cost a lot of money, and they need like very scientific evidence proof before they even would get anywhere near the funding that they would need to even try to discover the lost city of Atlantis if it was there. There's other people who actually believe it to be in Antarctica. And I think that there's actually a Disney movie about the lost city of Atlantis, but I'm not sure because I've never watched it, so I'm not sure. And that's just me being completely honest. So if there is, and you want to correct me, please, by all means, because we just want to give out the most accurate information. So if I'm incorrect about something, please correct me down below, because I did a lot of research for this video, and I have a lot on my mind right now with my dad's health and stuff like that. So I very, very much am able to get things wrong and mixed up. So like I said, if I was wrong about something and you know I'm wrong, then please correct me. I just want to give out the most accurate information, and like I said, with my mind being all over the place, it's possible I mess stuff up, and I will admit that. Of course, you can also look it up for yourself. I mean, the lost city of Atlantis is like very, very, it's very big. Like, it's a big mystery. And there's even like a theory that the lost city of Atlantis was swallowed up by the Bermuda Triangle, but where we think, or we thought, the lost city of Atlantis was is nowhere near it, the Bermuda Triangle, so it just didn't like make sense to people about that. But that I mean, could happen, I guess, like, is possible. And back in the day that we're talking about with Plato, I mean, they didn't have maps or anything like that, so for him to like figure out how to go and visit the city, like, would have been really, really hard to navigate and find. Like, let's just be completely honest, like, that's true, because he doesn't have a map to like figure it out. I mean, like, I still have trouble finding places in this town, and I freaking live here. Like, I literally will get Google out a lot to Google places and have Google take me to it. I'm not kidding. I had Google take me to a place that was like 15 minutes from my parents' house, and I was like, I grew up in this area. How I don't know where this place is, I'll never know. But I mean, they didn't have Google Maps and shit like that back then, obviously. So it's just like basically asking people for directions, I'm gonna guess, and just kind of like adventuring and finding it on your own would be probably the biggest thing with it. By the way, I have not been using this on my face because it's really been making my face look extremely cakey. So if you're wondering why I changed my look up with this, that's why. And it's not like he had been there before, so he couldn't go off of muscle memory either, because, like, that is another thing. Like, I have muscle memory to a lot of places because I've been there so many times, and I've lived around here, and I have, like, ideas of where places are like that, too. So, like, there is that possibility, but he had only been there once. Like I said, there is a very big believed theory by historians that the lost city of Atlantis doesn't exist, and it was actually made up by Plato to represent greed, which I can see that because he was a philosopher, but I don't believe it because I really want to believe that the lost city of Atlantis is real, for one. But I also don't want to think that he he describes these dimensions of this place. Like, he describes things of this place in, like, graphic detail. And like I said, with the ground penetrating radar that they did on the Shoreham Port, they were able to find shapes that represent, like, what Plato described. So I don't know. Do you guys think that the lost city of Atlantis is faked by Plato to represent greed? Now, like I said, he is a philosopher, so that is something that I feel like a philosopher could do to represent greed. Like, making a story to show, like, greed does destroy. Because greed will destroy you. Let's be completely honest. That's a well-known fact. Because, like, philosophers, like, kind of have, like, I guess, like, a different sense of, like, discreetly describing stuff, I guess you could say. At least in my opinion, that would be, if this was made up, that would be what Plato was doing, was a sense of, like, describing greed in another way. It is possible. I mean, it is possible. But at the same time, like, there's so many reasons as to why we haven't found the lost city of Atlantis yet. Like I said, with the geographic of the world changing so much, I mean, like, if you go and look at pictures of the geographic of the world from, like, millions of years ago, you can drastically see the world change and the world take shape. Like, it's crazy. It really, really is. It's amazing. But I don't really, I mean, there's so many theories and so many different, like, twists and turns to this story. Like, I really suggest Googling it for yourself if you're interested in the lost city of Atlantis. It's very, very, like, intriguing, like I said. Like I said, I think it would be kind of ironic and a little hilarious if they worshipped, like, Poseidon, which they are said to have had a statue of Poseidon, and the city was taken by the sea and other natural disasters. So I guess, like, we could talk a little bit about, like, what I believe about the lost city of Atlantis. Okay, so in conclusion to what I believe for the lost city of Atlantis, I think that the lost city of Atlantis did exist. I do believe that it did exist. And I think that it is under Spain, like they believe. Like they believe it to be. I just don't think that there is funding enough for it to even come to a conclusive conclusion to be able to dig stuff up from underneath this, like in the sea. But I do believe it is there. But I'm going to take this one and add a little bit of orange to this look. Blend this out. Oh, that looks so good. But yeah, so I believe that the city does exist. It did exist. Plato, it wasn't a pseudonym for greed. And he didn't just make it up, but I could be wrong. I think it would be really cool to see the lost city of Atlantis be found one day, honestly. I don't think that it's something I'm going to see, and I don't think that it's something that Kai or Jackson is going to see in their lifetime either. I think that if the lost city of Atlantis is found, it's probably going to be very, very, very many years from now. And like I said, we're in 2022. And this has been a mystery that's been happening since 1870. There is... Some people say that there were survivors of the lost city of Atlantis who went and ended up joining, like, other cultures and stuff like that, because like I said in the beginning of the video, it's apparently very well known and widely accepted that there are other, like, cultures and cities, like the lost city of Atlantis, that were very, very well, like, adapted, I guess you could say, like, electronically. And I mean, if you're coming from a city that you already had this knowledge and you're bringing it into another city, of course that makes a little bit more sense why all these, like, settlements back in the day had this knowledge, is because they came from a very well adapted place in the lost city of Atlantis, and they lost their home for who knows why, and were looking for a new home, and they brought their knowledge to their new homes. Because if this is true and the lost city of Atlantis exists, then it would make more sense that the survivors, there were multiple survivors and they didn't all go to one place. That would make more sense. So, I just want to know what you guys think. Is the lost city of Atlantis something you guys believe? I remember briefly, like... So, like I said, I actually remember my history teacher and I had touched on the topic of the lost city of Atlantis, like, in school, like, a very, very, very long time ago. I don't even remember what grade it was. So, I don't even remember where it was. Actually, my brother has a friend who actually majored in philosophy and writing, and he's actually, like, very, very brilliant. I think the next time I see him, probably be in a few days, I'm going to touch on the subject with him and see exactly what he thinks about the lost city of Atlantis and the philosophies of Plato, and see if maybe they discussed it in his philosophy, like, college classes. Because I feel like that would be, like, really eye-opening, I guess, but they probably weren't able to just because, like, it is actually a mystery and it's not fact. But who knows? I'm going to ask him, and I'm going to see what he says, because, like I said, he actually did major in philosophy in college, so that can give a little more insight into this, like, mystery. And the lost city of Atlantis, actually, the mystery itself, I believe, was featured on Unsolved Mysteries. like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, and it didn't, but I think it was featured on an episode of Unsolved Mysteries. Which Unsolved Mysteries actually focuses more or less on multiple crimes and multiple mysteries. So it would definitely be something you'd have to like dive into. But I think it was, and they would be able to like actually reenact stuff. Which I love it when they like reenact things. It just kind of like gives a little more personality, in my opinion, to the mystery. I really like this look. I've been going through my pigments, and I think this is the first pigment I've decided to keep, because I've used like 3 pigments before this, and I decided to get rid of them. They're all MAC pigments. More about that in a future declutter. Love this lip gloss so much. Wow. Puttered out. Alright, but anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So like, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell. All that social media. Great stuff. I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. And I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Of course. Bye, guys. You gonna say bye-bye? Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Say, everybody, I had cereal for breakfast today for the first time. Like real cereal. And no, he didn't use a spoon. He picked it out of the bowl. And milk. Say bye-bye. Alright, bye guys. I'll see you in tomorrow's video.